Tell me how you first met Stevie Nicks.
When I was a junior in high school up in Northern California, she transferred into my high school as a senior. She did play guitar, and she and I interacted slightly.
He once said, "I was lucky enough to find my soulmate late in life. I got all that other garbage out of the way." For Lindsey Buckingham, the musical genius behind many of Fleetwood Mac's greatest hits, those words about his wife, Kristen Messner, seemed to signal a hard-won peace after decades of romantic turmoil and band drama. But in 2021, that peace was shattered when Kristen suddenly filed for divorce after 21 years of marriage, seemingly plunging Lindsey back into personal chaos. What happened next shocked everyone and revealed the incredible pressures facing one of rock's most complicated legends. Today, we're diving into the dramatic story of Lindsey Buckingham's near divorce, the surprising twist that followed, and how it all connects to one of the most painful chapters in his professional life. A love story, decades in the making. Before we can understand the shocking developments in Lindsey and Kristen's marriage, we need to look back at how their relationship began and why it meant so much to Buckingham after his tumultuous romantic history. Lindsey Buckingham's love life had been notoriously complicated. His relationship with Stevie Nicks before and during their early Fleetwood Mac years became the stuff of rock legend, fueling classic songs like Go Your Own Way and Dreams. Their bitter breakup played out on the band's landmark album Rumors, selling millions of records, but leaving emotional scars that would last decades. "I had a lot of crazy girlfriends, and a lot of that was just an outgrowth of the lifestyle we were all leading," Buckingham once reflected. "I did see a lot of friends who were parents and spouses back in previous decades who weren't really there and kind of screwed up their kids. So I waited, and I was lucky enough to meet someone relatively late. I got all that other garbage out of the way." That someone was Kristen Messner, a photographer who met Buckingham in 1996 during a photo shoot for one of his solo albums. Their connection was immediate, and despite their 21-year age difference, they began a relationship that seemed to ground the often intense musician. The couple married in 2000 and soon welcomed 3 children: William Gregory, born in 1998, Lily, born in 2000, and their youngest one, Stella, from 2004. For Buckingham, who had spent decades in the chaotic world of rock stardom, family life offered a new kind of fulfillment. "I waited to have a family because I had my career to attend to," he explained in interviews. "I didn't want to be an absentee dad. I wanted to be there for my kids." This commitment to family became central to Buckingham's identity, making the divorce filing in 2021 all the more shocking. The breaking point: stress, strain, and separation. In June 2021, entertainment news outlets broke the story. Kristen Messner had filed for divorce from Lindsey Buckingham after 21 years of marriage. The filing cited irreconcilable differences and listed the date of separation as June 3, 2021. The timing couldn't have been worse for Buckingham. He was still recovering from a series of professional and health crises that had rocked his world. In 2018, he had been unceremoniously fired from Fleetwood Mac, the band he had helped transform into a global phenomenon. "I think what we had was a beautiful 43-year example of a group that was a synergy," Buckingham said about his firing. "To end the way it did, with an agenda that was not honorable, was difficult for me to reconcile." Kristen had publicly supported her husband during this difficult period. When Buckingham was fired from Fleetwood Mac, she took to Instagram to defend him, writing, "What happened was wrong. It was a power play and a hit that was called by Stevie Nicks and Irving Azoff." Her fierce loyalty made the divorce filing all the more surprising. Then, in February 2019, Buckingham suffered a major health crisis when he underwent emergency open-heart surgery. The procedure saved his life but damaged his vocal cords, putting his musical future in jeopardy. Kristen had been by his side throughout his recovery, making her decision to file for divorce 2 years later seem even more unexpected. What could have driven this seemingly solid couple apart after weathering so many storms together? The answer may lie in comments Buckingham made later about the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on their relationship. "I think a lot of relationships were somewhat tested by the lockdown," he admitted. "It was a year and a half of us being in the same house, which we'd never done before. She wanted her space, and I want her to have her space. We'll see what happens. The shocking twist: reconciliation against all odds. Just when it seemed that Lindsey Buckingham's personal life was following the same dramatic arc as his professional one, with loss and heartbreak taking center stage, something remarkable happened. Despite the divorce filing and public announcement of their separation, Lindsey and Kristen didn't actually go through with ending their marriage. In September 2021, just 3 months after the divorce filing made headlines, Buckingham revealed something surprising during interviews promoting his self-titled solo album. Relationships in the long term can be challenging, and they have their ups and downs. You've got to take that ride and be willing to take it, he told People magazine. Then came the bombshell. I'm hoping that we can work it out. Kristen and I are working through things, and I'm hoping we'll see the light at the end of the tunnel. I hope she'll be back. This candid admission shocked fans who had assumed the divorce was proceeding as reported. Instead, Buckingham was publicly expressing hope for reconciliation. And behind the scenes, that's exactly what was happening. While neither Lindsey nor Kristen made a formal announcement about calling off the divorce, reports began to surface that the couple was actively working on their marriage. By late 2021 and early 2022, it became clear that the divorce had been put on hold as they attempted to rebuild their relationship. What could have prompted this surprising turn of events? How did a marriage that seemed headed for dissolution find its way back from the brink? The answer may lie in the song "I Don't Mind" from Buckingham's 2021 solo album, which he described as being about the challenges of long-term relationships. Over time, two people inevitably find the need to augment their initial dynamic with one of flexibility, an acceptance of each other's flaws, and a willingness to continually work on issues. This song celebrates that spirit and discipline. The shadow of Fleetwood Mac. One factor that cannot be overlooked in understanding the Buckingham-Messner marriage is the long shadow cast by Lindsey's dramatic exit from Fleetwood Mac in 2018. This professional trauma had profound effects on both Lindsey and Kristen, potentially contributing to the strain on their relationship. When Buckingham was fired from the band, it wasn't just a career setback. It was the severing of a 43-year relationship that had defined much of his adult life. The manner of his dismissal was particularly painful. According to Buckingham, he received a call from the band's manager, Irving Azoff, telling him, "Stevie never wants to be on a stage with you again." There was no direct communication from his bandmates, some of whom he had known since he was a kid. This lack of closure left deep wounds. It was like a knife in the heart, Buckingham said. Kristen's public defense of her husband showed her loyalty, but also pulled her into the drama. Her Instagram post calling out Stevie Nicks and Irving Azoff demonstrated how personally the family took Lindsey's firing. The financial implications were significant as well. Buckingham filed a lawsuit against his former bandmates, reportedly seeking his share of tour earnings estimated at $12 to $14 million. While the suit was settled out of court, the stress of legal battles and financial uncertainty would have added pressure to the marriage. Could the strain of this professional crisis have created fissures in their relationship that only became apparent years later? Did the accumulated stress of Lindsey's firing, health crisis, and then the pandemic lockdown create a perfect storm that nearly ended their marriage? The near divorce and subsequent reconciliation of Lindsey Buckingham and Kristen Messner offers a rare glimpse into the private struggles of a public figure. For a man whose romantic life had once been fodder for some of rock's most iconic breakup songs, the ability to save his marriage represented a different kind of victory.